So good evening, students. Today we're looking at cell division. In particular, we're looking at mitosis and meiosis today. Hopefully we can get through both of them. So first of all, we have a little bit of information on what are chromosomes and genes. So let's pray before we get into our work. Our loving Father in heaven, we're thankful that we can meet to continue examining the content of the syllabus. Help, dear Lord, that these students may be able to cover their syllabus and be prepared for their exams. Help them to remember the content and to appropriately apply it so that they can have very good grades when they sit their exams. Bless and keep them even now. For this is my humble prayer in Jesus' name. Amen. All right, so we know quite a lot about cells so far, right? We learned about the different kinds of cell organelles they are, how they function, etc., right? And so today we're going to look at how cells divide. So briefly, we're going to look at some terms. One of these is chromosomes. Now, chromosomes are normally found within the nucleus of a cell, and they contain genetic material in the form of what are called genes, all right? Now, if the cell is not divided, the chromosomes exist as long, thin strands, which we call chromatin threads, right? And they spread throughout the nucleus. They only become visible when a cell begins to divide, right? They become shorter and thicker. So chromosomes are passed from one generation to the next in gametes. So each species has a distinctive number of chromosomes per body cell. In humans, we have 46 chromosomes. Now, the number of chromosomes in each cell is known as the diploid number, right? Chromosomes can exist in pairs with what we call homologous pairs. These are new terms to you guys, right? So every human cell has 23 pairs of chromosomes, right? Good. So we're going to look at genes now. So you're going to continue reading through that long list of stuff they have there, nonetheless. So a particular section of a chromosomal DNA molecule is called a gene, right? And it's responsible for passing down genetic information, right? So we got lots and lots of genes, right? Basically, they control the production of proteins in cell, the production of enzymes, and a whole other set of production of different proteins, right? So all of the cells of one individual contain an identical combination of genes, right? So we got different combination of genes, right? For instance, you might find that you have identical twins, right? Now, these guys have the same combination of genes, but if you're not an identical twin, we will have different combinations of genes. So we're going to go into cell division now. So when a cell divides, its chromosomes with their genes are passed on to the cells produced, known as the daughter cells. Right, so when cells divide, they divide, making what are called what? Daughter cells. And we've got two kinds of cell division. We have mitosis and meiosis. Let's have a nice little definition here for mitosis. So I'm going to highlight it. So here, this is where we are at. So mitosis is a type of cell division that results in the formation of two daughter cells. Please note, two daughter cells, each with the same number and kind of chromosomes as the parent cell. So in essence, these daughter cells are identical to the parent cells, right? Now, mitosis occurs in all body cells, except in the formation of gametes, which are our sex cells, right? That's a totally different thing going on with the sex cells. Now, during mitosis, two genetically identical cells are formed. Each cell contains the diploid number of the chromosomes. What does that mean? Diploid. Basically, they have the same number of chromosomes as the parent cell, and they're actually called clones. You ever heard the term cloning before? Anybody here? Hello?
Clone means to like make something identical.
Good. So when you hear of clone, think of mitosis, cell division. You have the identical daughter cell to the parent cell, right? And we have two daughter cells being produced, right? So the daughter cells have the same number and type of chromosomes as the parent cell. So mitosis ensures that each daughter cell has an identical combination of genes. And this is the method by which all cells of a multicellular organism are formed. Hence, it is essential for growth and to repair damaged tissues. So all cells except for our sex cells are reproduced or divide through mitosis, right? And it is also the method by which organisms reproduce asexually, forming offspring that are identical to each other and to the parent. All right. What happened to one of we girls gone? Stephanie gone. She got bounced off anyhow. Let's continue. Any questions there, Zara? Right? Remember, two identical cells are made from this type of cell division, right?
Yes, miss.
Goody. So again, look at some. I think they actually give us a breakdown of the stages. Let's see. I think so. So we have different diagrams here showing us what happens in the different stages of mitosis, right? So the first diagram shows us what happens when the cell is not dividing. Do you see those fine threads in the middle of this yellow ball in the middle? That is the chromatid threads, right? Now, when the cell is not dividing, the chromosomes are not visible. They exist as long, thin strands called chromatin threads. Now, I can't remember this. These things aren't labeled. I need to, you know what I'm gonna do with you, dearie? Oh, I'm gonna give you, I'm gonna find one of those other notes I had that identify the stages. They didn't name it in here. Anaphase, telophase, the whole works. Anyhow, I'm gonna get back to you with a diagram on this. I'm gonna send it in the group. So,
Okay, miss.
first of all, when the cell is about to divide, the chromosomes, they get shorter and thicker and they duplicate themselves, right? And they become visible. Now, each consists of two identical chromatids joined at the centromere. So in the middle, you'll find the centromere, and these chromatin threads, they become thicker and shorter, and they duplicate, right? So they begin to form spindle fibers. Those are these over here. To the left, so you see those little dashes? That represents the formation of a spindle. Then in the next stage, they go to the equator or the center of the cell. And you can see these spindle fibers more distinct. And they attach to the centromere. right? These spindle
Yes,
fibers
miss.
attached there. So they line up in the middle. They
Excuse me, miss,
line,
I got a
and they,
question.
what's that?
They would usually bring all these, or they would bring like one in CXC.
Oh, we don't know what they're going to bring, so you have to know all the content. So you have to know the stages of
Okay, miss.
mitosis cell division. Yeah. So notice in this third diagram that we no longer have the nuclear membrane that was surrounding these chromosomes in the middle in the second diagram. That disappears. These chromatid pairs go to the equator or the center of the cell, and you have these spindle fibers. The next diagram shows them separating the chromatid pairs. Notice they're being pulled, some going north, some coming south, right? So notice you had like two of each, this X, but one is pulling to the north of each, a blue, two red in the middle, and a blue at the end. They split up and they start to go to the north of the cell and some to the south of the cell, right? So the
Yes, miss.
centromeres, they split and the spindle fibers pull the chromatids by their centromeres to opposite poles of the cell. That's what happens there. Now these stages got names and I can't remember them right now. I gotta find another diagram. Anyhow, I wanna find it. So eventually they're pulled to the south and north and south of the cell. And then you start to get a constriction. Can you see like a waistline in this cell now? In the middle? A little
Yes, miss.
indentation. Yeah, good. So the cell itself starts to separate there. Uh-huh. So it starts to constrict this area talking about, right? See a nice little waistline now. Good. And this is where they're going to eventually separate till we have the two daughter cells, right? And remember in this, so we have now got a chromosomes when these things are formed here now, right? You got a
Yes,
chromosomes
miss.
and the daughter cells are identical to the parent cell. They have the same number of chromosomes. So the parent cell definitely has 23 pairs of chromosomes. These daughter cells will have 23 pairs of chromosomes also, right?
Miss,
Well,
so what if there was the two blue ones in the middle and the red ones at the end? Would it be the same?
no, no, no. What you saying?
For the third to last one, if the blue ones were in the middle and the red ones at the end, it would be the same?
Yeah, is once there's one of each in each cell, that's all that matters.
No, like I like how it get the blue, the two red, then the blue. Would if it had a red, two blue, and then a next red, would it still be considered the same?
They would start with the same number, end up with the same number. This is just to show you what happens with different chromosomes. They're not colored red or blue, right? Please note.
Okay, miss.
It's just for the diagram, right? Yeah, they're not
Okay,
colored.
miss.
So it's just to tell you that you have them separating and having some long, some short. Once you have 23 pairs, that's all that matters, right? So I will get back to you guys with a better labeled diagram to show you anaphase, telophase, metaphase, all those stages, right? Which is which. So that's basically a
Okay.
breakdown of mitosis, right? And this is where all cells in our body, except for the sex cells, we women have our eggs and our sperm cells. It's a different type of division, right? Cell division. Now we're going to go into the second type of cell division. And this one is called meiosis or reduction division. So we're going to look at our definition first of all. First of all, our definition. Good. Definition is here, looking right there. So meiosis is a type of cell division that results in the formation of how many daughter cells? How many? Do you see there?
4.
Good. So
4.
mitosis, how many? How many in mitosis? How many in mitosis cell division, the one we looked at just now? How many daughter cells?
2.
Good. But meiosis has how many? 4.
4.
And remember in mitosis, daughter cells were identical to the parent. In meiosis, each will have half. This is called haploid number of chromosomes. Half the number of chromosomes as the parent cell, right? Now,
Yes, miss.
this type of meiosis cell division only occurs in reproductive organs during the production of gametes. So this would happen in our ovaries when our eggs are being made, and in the testes when sperm are being made. Plants, when you have reproduction, when the production of ovules or pollen grains, same thing, right? So they have what is called a haploid number of chromosomes. Haploid means half the diploid number. The diploid would have been the 23 chromosomes. The haploid can be half, or whatever is there, half of that. Now, when the sex cells come together, then you have an organism with the correct number of chromosomes. So when the sperm and the egg they combine in fertilization, then what is made? The organism is going to have 23 pairs of chromosome in each cell, right? Now, each daughter cell is going to have a different combination of genes, and this is what gives us variation, or what we call variety among the offspring. Sarah, you have siblings, right? Everybody here has siblings, brothers or sisters,
Yes,
right?
miss. I have
Good.
siblings.
And it's because of
Yes, miss. I
meiosis.
have brothers and sisters.
All right, good. So it's because of meiosis. This is why you have different combination of genes. And this is why your brother and sister don't look everything like you, your brother or your sister. It's because of variation. You have a different combination of the genes, right? So we're gonna have to go into the stages now. All right. Normally, the first sign of a cell dividing is where the chromosomes get shorter and thicker and become visible in the first diagram. Then the same thing happens what we talked about just now. They start to have a spindle being formed, and then our little threads would have a centromere and they duplicate. Then eventually these guys will drift the chromosomes will go to the equator. You have the spindle there, and then you have they separate. I hope you are following these. I should have been ticking, showing you how we are talking about. All right. So the spindle forms here. We're looking at this one here. This is the spindle here. The chromosomes get thicker and they duplicate. So they get two times here. Look at the single strand here for each one here. When you see the duplicate, you have more double up, right? Good. Then they go to the equator in the next phase. And you have the spindles attaching to the centromere, the middle that holds these chromosomes together. Then again, they're going to be separated. The spindles are going to pull them apart. That's what happened in this side. Let me take out these jottings. Good. So we're talking about this one here. So this is where they pull apart. All right, the spindles. They pull apart these chromosomes. So they pull them to opposite poles of the cell. Then, oh shucks. Pardon me what you're doing there, I don't know. Then once again, you have a little waistline where the cell membrane eats in yes. The cell membrane eats in. So there's a constriction there again, where they're going to separate. Notice you have a nuclear membrane here surrounding these chromosomes. right? Both of them have it. But the thing is, it doesn't stop there at two daughter cells. It has to divide further. So the cell divides further. So we're going to look at it in the other side of the diagram, right? So let me go back up. So once again, we're looking at this one at the top here, top right-hand side. So once again, you have the formation of the spindle. You see the spindle forming there at the bottom on this one here. Then the nuclear membrane disappears in this diagram, and these spindles are attaching to the chromosomes in the middle that go to the equator. It's like this is like the second splitting up, same process like the first stage. So once again, they pull apart. These chromosomes are pulled apart. So the chromatids are pulled apart and go to different parts of the equator from the equator they move to the poles again. And then notice it's again getting constructed, the cell. The cell is being constructed here again. It's being constructed. So you're getting a little waistline again, the cell. And where that construction is where the cell divides fully. So here it starts to eating and separate. You see it? Eating and separate. So eventually you end up with 4 daughter cells. It's eating away there. And at the end, we end up with 4 daughter cells. But remember, these daughter cells are not identical to the parent. They only have half the number of chromosomes of the parent cell. So whatever number the parent cells have with chromosomes, each one is going to have half the number of chromosomes. Think you understand there, ladies? I think I got any gentlemen in this class. I think Joshua around, right?
Yes, miss.
Yes, miss.
So once again, look that the spindle fibers disappear. You have back the nuclear membrane. These guys get tiny now. You have chromatin fibers, and we say they have haploid number of chromosomes, which simply means they have half the number of chromosomes as the daughter cell, as the parent cell, sorry. And that's the ending basically for meiosis. So let's take, for instance, humans now. Now remember, the sex cells are the ones that will divide and form by meiosis. So the sperm itself has 23 chromosomes. The eggs have 23 chromosomes. Let me see if I can go back up. So when they combine, we end up with 46 chromosomes. Isn't that so? At fertilization. Ooh, why is my stuff moving here? Yeah. Let me take that off. So I'm going back up. What's with this thing there? Oh, we got less than 10 minutes left, guys. Anyway, good. Now, bear in mind, human cells have 23 pairs. In essence, that's 46 chromosomes, right? So if the starting off cell had 46 chromosomes in the sex cells, they would have 23 chromosomes, right? So I think there was a part here. Sorry, guys. I end up switching. And then we can talk about variation another time. All right. So they have a nice diagram here, right? So these cells, let's take for instance the eggs that are made in the sperms, each one has 23 chromosomes. And when they fertilize, and fertilization takes place, the two combine, and the cells that they make will now have 46 chromosomes. Do you understand, students? And when they
Yes,
fertilize and make,
Miss.
and that first cell, that is bunch of cells that the sperm and the eggs make when they combine, is called a zygote. Now the zygote has to divide and multiply now to grow and eventually become a fetus, a baby is born, etc. So when the sperm and the egg combine, as what the diagram is showing us here, it gives you a zygote. This zygote will now divide by the process called mitosis. It's going to create more cells like the parent cell, like the zygote. And those cells would eventually grow into a fetus, right? So that's how we see the combination of meiosis here and mitosis happening, right? The relationship between the two in reproduction. So all the cells that are made from this embryo are made through the process mitosis, but the sex cells are made through meiosis, right? I'm going to try and get a better diagram to explain and give the names of the stages in these different types of cell division, right? I don't think I want to give you guys anything more for tonight. Let that soak in. So your homework for next week, I want you to read out the work on variation that you're seeing here. So far, I can tell you how to read out. Environmental variation, continuous and discontinuous variation, importance of variation to living organisms. See if you can read that out. And let's see if we can go on to inheritance and genetic engineering, right? For next week. So read up to there. All right, that's it for tonight. All right, this is where we end our meeting. Do enjoy the
Good
rest
night,
of your
Miss.
evening. Good night.